Welcome everyone to Coaching the Session. My name is Michael Rearden, and I'll be your mindset coach today. And today we're going to be talking about the current state of mindset. And if you have looked at the news, if you just have a feeling on the inside of you, something's amok, whether that be something for the good for you or something kind of detrimental for you, that is going to be dependent on your mindset. Tough times are coming, of course, with a recession looming over our heads. Looking at the stock market, I mean, we are in a recession on books, but as long as the feds are saying we're not in a recession and people in power are saying we're not in a recession, then we can just say we're in a recession, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're in a recession. Because if they don't want to admit it, then we really can't do much. But when we're in a recession, there are things we can do to come out on top, and that is to adjust our mindset. Because if we look at the Great Depression, during that time, at the end of it, that time when everything was coming back to life, at that point in time, there was more millionaires created then after that recession than just in the general times of prosperity and growth. So people can utilize a recession to grow, to change their life, but many people won't. And it's not that they can't, it's just that they don't know how. So we're going to be diving into that type of mindset momentarily. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and to share this video and your audio to help build a community of like-minded individuals. Now we're going to dive into the most recent blog, The Current State of Mindset. Now, the current state of mindset is going to be talking about how our minds are and looking at the world a little bit too, because the world can give us a good indication of how our mind is, and then we can maybe look at it and see if our thoughts are validated. For example, if we are overstressed, overburdened, trying to make ends meet, and we're just barely surviving, it's literally a struggle every single week to make ends meet. We have to look at the society first, right? We have to look at the world, the economy. Well, inflation's up, recession is looming, if not here, and then we have high gas prices, high food costs. All of those different things can add on to stress. And though you might not think that's the case, it could be. And there are some people who have lost their jobs because of the mandates, or they have lost their jobs because companies went under, bankruptcy, things like that. There are going to be a lot of people in shaky times right now where certainty is not right around the corner. And though people want to be better, it doesn't mean their mindset is better. We might say we want to go to the gym, and we maybe go to the gym, but we never get in shape because we know subconsciously that we don't really want it. And sometimes when we're dealing with mindset, the mind knows if you really want it or if you kind of want it. And if you kind of want it, then that's where the disparity is going to start to occur. Many people kind of want a good, strong mindset, kind of want success, kind of want to be rich and wealthy. Because if they really wanted it, they would do the hard work associated with it. Everyone wants easy nowadays. And that right there is going to make it difficult for us to get in that type of mindset. I have this window here, and this window is going to be talking about what I say in the first paragraph of the blog. And I have talked about this quite some time, quite often. It is something that I believe truly, and it's something that has stood the test of time in the sense of, wow, this is the circle that we are going across. So what typically tends to happen is that we will get tough times. And after those tough times, what happens is that those tough times will create strong men. And after those strong men have lived through life, it could be maybe 20 to 50 years, maybe 70 years, their lifespan, those strong men have one goal in their mind: to create easy times. Because the brain is unique. The mindset is unique. We don't want challenge. We want easy. So strong men, even though they know they're strong, they want to create easy times. So they say to themselves, I'm going to give my kids the life I never had, easy times. I'm going to make sure my family can be on smooth sailing, an easy street, easy times, right? So we're creating easy times for our family. And though that is admirable, and though that is a good thing, what easy times tend to do is create weak men. And this is where we are right now in society. we are ridden with weak men because we had strong men create easy times, and those easy times made us weak. Now, I'm going to be breaking down this in a little bit more, but the outcome from our weak men, eventually weak men will create more tough times, and then we have to use those tough times to create more strong men. What are these tough times, right? Well, I already said it in the beginning. We are record high inflation. We are dealing with higher costs of food and gasoline, and many people might not know where the next payment is coming in for their mortgage or their rent because everything is so high. So people are barely surviving, and those are going to create more tough times, but not for everyone, because you're going to see, as you saw in 2020, all of these billionaires that just bowed it up. How did that happen? We're not going to get into that because that's a little bit more political, but we have an opportunity right here to allow these tough times to make us stronger, but at the same time, we come out on top and not remain weak. So it's kind of like a limbo that we have to play, but we can win if we know the structure of mindset. So in that first paragraph, like I said, of the blog, I'm talking about this quote. Look at that quote, understand that quote, because it's going to be the premise of what we talk about today. What I want people to understand is that not saying that our grandfathers or our ancestors were better than us. We live in a different world, right? We have technology. So of course, things are going to be easier. We might have heard our teachers say, you're not going to grow up and you're not going to have a calculator in your pocket all the time. Well, look what we have now. We have a cell phone that has a calculator all the time. Prove them wrong, right? So they're thinking in an outdated manner. So we do have the ability to use technology and instant advances for our betterment. The problem is people don't use it for their betterment. They use it for their enjoyment. And then that's where we have social media. And that's where we have all these videos and all these drama-filled, negative type of sitcoms and shows that people watch. Now, there's nothing wrong with watching a motivational video, listening to a podcast of like a doctor speak about diet, health, learning a skill. All of those different things are good. And if you need music or something like that because, you're working out or you're at work and you need some music playing in the background, that's also a good thing, right? But when we mindlessly scroll hours at end, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is, the social medias, we lose so much time. And the mindset of us right now is that we can waste time. We have all this time to waste. And I'm not saying that you can't waste time because time spent enjoyed is not wasted time. So you have to understand that you can use time. If you want to play a video game, play a video game. If you want to watch a movie, watch a movie. If you want to go out with friends, go out with friends. But understand what type of work you have to do every single day. If you have something that takes precedence for pleasure, you might have to sacrifice. And I know it can be difficult to maybe miss a game, miss hanging out with some friends, miss an event. But you have to look at the bigger picture. People sacrifice time for greatness. The people who don't seek greatness will sacrifice their time for pleasure. So you have to figure out which one you want. Do you want pleasure or do you want greatness? Many people will choose pleasure at the moment. But how can we get into that type of mindset of greatness, of trying to get into our higher self per se, right? Well, it's going to take some consistency. It's going to take some dedication. And it's going to take some commitment, because in order to get the life that you want, you have to do the things that you might not be willing to do. So it's kind of like waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. You might not want to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but that might be just what you need to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, get your butt to the gym, get to work. Maybe you're trying to do something else, right? You're trying to start a company. So you need to stay ahead of the competition. You need to learn how everything moves and then make a plan and then do that plan, right? Some people just kind of wish and hope things turn out okay, but we can't remain in that type of thinking, because allowing ourselves or our future to be determined by an off chance of luck is nothing more than a gamble. So we have to be more certain in what we do. we have to understand the current state of mindset in society. And right now, society is kind of operating under a follower type of mentality. And I talked about this before in the podcast. I'm going to talk about it again today. When you follow someone, you're a follower. Not saying that you are a follower in real life. You can be a leader in that right. But we are being conditioned without us even knowing. From an early age, we are conditioned. From the moment we are born to going into school, which is a drastic conditioning, and then after we graduate, we are still conditioned. So we have to figure out how to get out of that conditioning, right? Because our current mindset is conditioned to society that is not conducive to success. So we have to figure out how we can be successful. And I know there's talk right now about, oh, we're going to do finance classes for people and we're going to do all this stuff. And that is nice, right? That is a bonus. It's going to help people. But you have to understand something. Most people don't care, especially high school kids. You think they care about finance? You think they care about accounting? No, not unless they're going to have that type of logical or analytical brain where they're thinking about the things that they enjoy rather than being the cool kid or what clothes to wear or what is new and grand in the music scheme. Somewhere along the lines, we got intertwined with what we should be doing, what we should be learning to what society is so we can conform to it. And that's a problem because now people are not pushing themselves because they don't have to. They don't want to. So they stay exactly where they are and they wonder why they don't have the good life. The current state of mindset is only a way of thinking to get us in a new way of thinking. Because if we look at our current mindset, look at the current society, we can probably say that we are not a fan of it exactly. There's maybe some things that we want to change. And maybe you might think, well, I don't want to change anything because that's just who I am. Well, guess what? You don't have to change your mindset. If you like the life you have, keep it. If you don't like your life you have, change it. So you have to figure that out for yourself. So getting back to our blog, we can see that the current state of mindset is going to have many different things that we can be talking about. And if we can understand that we are only an image or an after image of who we are as people or who we were as people, we will see that things are going to be different. Now, we can make a change, right? We can figure out what we want to do and then make that change for the better. However, most people are going to keep the life that they have and then they're going to be upset later on in life. There is a way for us to change our mindset, and that is typically going to require a trauma. If we can have a trauma in our life, it could be that spark that initiates our change, that change in us, within us, to make us drive through, become critical thinkers, and to not allow society to kind of push us and pull us in the direction it wants. We choose who we want. So in a sense, even though our current state of mindset is going to be more of a follower type of mentality, more of a conforming type of mentality, we have to figure out how to change that. And I've talked about this, I believe, on the second episode of Coaching in Session. What type of mindset are you? Are you fixed mindset or are you growth mindset? And then figuring out how to get out of that type of mindset if you're a fixed mindset and then into a more growth type of mindset. So this blog, The Current State of Mindset, I briefly went over it. And I encourage you to read all the blogs that we talk about on Monday because it's really going to give you a different perspective than the podcast. The podcast is going to be talking about kind of like a blanket statement to try to identify at least one, maybe more talking points that you're familiar with. Now, we dive deep into the blog. We really get nitty gritty with the facts and the data. But you have to understand that when you read this article, it's not just something to read and make yourself aware of. It's something to drive change because we have an option to allow trauma to change us, or we have an option to allow our mindset to change us. We have to choose what we want. Like I said, many people will choose a trauma. My biggest mindset was invoked by a trauma. Now, I had many mindset shifts before that, that weren't invoked by a trauma. But if I had a coach, I would be able to get past that invoking trauma mindset shift with just a coach helping me along the way. So it just depends on where you are and what you want to do. Because if you understand where society is, we're in a unique position where we can be those millionaires. We can create more millionaires or billionaires, whatever you want. You just have to know how to do it. Now, there's going to be many people talking about, oh yeah, join this seminar and learn how to do real estate and figure out which stocks are going to be good. Though that can be a good thing, I want you to practice caution, because many people, they might just throw everything to the wayside and they're like, okay, gamble. And they're going to try to bet it all. But just because you bet it all doesn't mean you're going to win. So what I want from you is to be more cautious and figure out how you can win without all the unnecessary risk. But getting back into it, we have to figure out how we can get our current society into be stronger men without going through those tough times. And even though right now we can say we're going through those tough times, we want to not allow those tough times to destroy so many people, right? So if it can be a quick thing, think of like if you had a lighter and you turn the lighter on, you can actually put the flame through your hand, right? So you can put the flame through your hand with a lighter. You're not going to get burned. However, if you take the flame and you keep your hand there over the flame with the lighter, you will get burned. So it depends how quick we transition through these tough times. Some people will get burned. Some people are going to come out unscathed. We just have to figure out what we want, because if you want to come out unscathed, guess what you have to do? You have to move through these tough times with 100% effort. That means you can't give up. That means you can't take a break. That means you have to give every ounce you have during these times. And when you're past those tough times and now you're strong and you're on top, if you want to take a break, do it. Feel free. Go on vacation. Go buy a yacht. Do whatever you want. Fly private. But understand this, that if you want to keep that life, you have to do what you did to get to that life, because you can get somewhere and then lose it all. So maintenance is part of it. If I stopped going to the gym, I would not have the body I have. I'd be a tall, skinny guy. Now, maybe one day I might say, I don't feel like going to the gym no more. I want to do something different. And maybe I just go back to doing yoga where I had a different body type. I remember when I was lifting very heavy in college, I had these huge muscles, and then I went to yoga. In yoga, my yoga instructor was like, you can't even do the positions because your muscles are so big. So when I was trying to do like half moon pose, my shoulders were getting in the way from me doing it. So I was like, okay, well, let me tone back the workouts a little bit. And then I was a yogi for about 2 or 3 years. I still worked out doing yoga, but it was a different type of mindset. It required different muscles in the body. So yes, you could be super strong or super proficient in an area, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be successful or it's going to be automatically good. So you have to figure out what change you're going to make and then make it. I encourage you to read the blog. I encourage you to check out revenconcepts.com. I encourage you to check out all the other podcast episodes, all the other blogs, all of those different things. Because if you tuned in for last week's episode, you're going to notice that in our TOS series, the second step is going to be getting an abundance of personal development material. What better place than revenconcepts.com? So check out the website, get all the personal development tools you need for your growth and for your prosperity. Because the current state of mindset is not necessarily in the best shape right now. Because the majority of people are struggling and they're very hateful and they're not optimistic and things are looking dim. So in order for us to be that new shining light for society, in order for us to be that change, that spark that's going to ignite our whole life on fire for the better, not just to be up in flames, but a type of fire like a phoenix, to have a rebirth and an awakening and finally realize that we can make our reality anything we want it to be. Our future is up to us. So we, right now, our current state of mindset, we are at a turning point, a junction, where we can change our whole entire life if we want to. I think you just have to ask yourself the question, Why do you want to and will you? Because if you can answer those two questions, you'll get a good understanding if you want to come out on top after this recession. And I'm not here to spout, oh, you need a program, oh, you need to go get a real estate license, or you need to go do this coaching program or this call or whatever, blah, blah, blah. No. What I want you to do is I want you to get as much personal development material and then fill yourself up with knowledge. Ask yourself why you did it, and then figure out your purpose, your passion, your gift, and then go for it. Now, if you need help finding your purpose, passion, your gift, of course, revenconcepts.com, we can get you going in 1 month, right? So we want to get you as quick as possible on track and back to your best mindset. My name is Michael Rearden. I'm a mindset coach. If you have any questions, you can email me, coachingasession@gmail.com, and I will see everyone on the next episode of Coaching a Session. Until then, everyone, take care.